Welcome back, everyone. I'm Bailey.
And I'm Raquel.
And this is the Whole Shebang Podcast. We are back.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. We are back with today's episode, which is our first fandom episode.
Mm-hmm. And these will be every 5 episodes. We will focus on a different fandom that we are a part of.
So the first fandom we are going to touch on that we are a part of is the Hazbin Hotel.
Woot woot.
If you haven't heard of Hazbin Hotel, I do believe you're living under a rock.
It's on Amazon. Go watch it now.
It is an easily bingeable.
Yeah, it does not take that long. So let's start off by talking about how we found Hazbin.
Okay, I do believe I was the one who got you into Hazbin.
So we are not part of that original group who found Hazbin as the trailer on YouTube way back when.
Actually.
Or are you?
I am.
Oh, you are?
I did find the trailer on YouTube a very long time ago.
Look at you go.
And I watched it, and I forgot all about it.
Yeah, there we go.
And then when I had watched Hazbin Hotel, I saw that people were commenting that it had been made on YouTube years ago. And so I went and I rewatched it and I was like, oh, this seems familiar.
That's classic for you. Yep.
Yes. So I had seen it prior to and wanted to tune in when it came out. And surprise, surprise, it was right up my alley anyway. So I ended up watching it and binge watching it.
And then I had watched, I think, the first episode, half of the first episode. And I was, I don't know if it's really for me. It takes a bit to get into, I found. And I was not sure about it because there's a lot of really weird adult animation out there. So I was kind of like, eh. And I put it on the save list to watch later until you started talking about it.
When I get into my fandoms, I like to go on and on and on about them, as all my friends know.
Uh-huh.
So once I had finished watching the show, I do believe I made everyone close to me watch it because I needed to talk with it. So I do remember mentioning it to you to go and watch. And I believe you got more hooked than I did.
Yeah, I've watched it a lot on repeat. And the sister series, Helluva Boss, which we'll talk about in the future, hopefully.
Yes, Helluva Boss, I had not previously watched until I believe you told me to start watching it.
No, you told me that there was a YouTube series similar. And then we both started watching it around the same time. And I would say I'm almost more addicted to Helluva Boss than I am Hazbin.
Yes. Hazbin, for me, I love my musicals. And Hazbin has a lot more music in it than Helluva Boss.
I wish Helluva Boss, now we're talking about it anyway, I wish they would put the songs onto streaming services.
Yes, I would love to listen to the Helluva Boss soundtrack as well.
Because mixing that with my husband, I would never need to listen to anything else.
No, I just got my Spotify Wrapped this year, and Hazbin songs were top of the list.
Yeah, mine too. Stayed Gone was like number 4.
Yeah, mine this year that I listened to more than anything else was the You Didn't Know. Love that song. I love Lute in that song.
You were in the top 4% of listeners, weren't you?
I was in the 0.05% of listeners for that song. Lute's voice, all the voices in Hazbin Hotel are amazing.
Yeah, but in that particular song, her voice is so strong.
And I find the pronunciation that she uses is captivating.
By the way, there will be spoilers, so spoiler alert now. If you haven't seen it, which you should have.
Which you should have seen it by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where do we want to start this episode off? Do you want to rate the songs?
Sure, but first I think, just in case someone's listening who has never watched but is going to spoil it for themselves anyway, let's talk about what it is.
Okay.
So, Hazbin Hotel is a series created by an incredible woman whose name is Vivian Modrano. Vizzy Pop online. Follow her. She's awesome. She posts a lot of really cool things.
She does post a lot.
And we both follow her, of course. And if by miracle she's listening, hey.
We'd love autographs.
Yes, please. Send them this way. Or come to Canada. I know that some of them are coming to Vancouver, but that's not fair. Those of us who live on the other side of the country would love to meet them all, too.
And it would literally take us thousands of dollars to get there.
Yeah. And to meet some of the cast members, I'd probably cry. But
I know. You have a favorite cast member in mind.
I do. I follow him on Instagram. So yeah, they created this incredible show. It came out on YouTube as a trailer episode. Yeah, it was a trailer episode. And then it got picked up by Amazon.
And then aired in January of 2024.
Yeah, and we're still waiting for season 2. Eagerly and patiently, knowing it takes time for production of any kind. And so the show is about Charlie, the Princess of Hell, who wants to create a hotel to rehabilitate sinners.
Yes.
In the smallest summary I can possibly give.
That's the show. And you know what? It's quirky. It's queer.
It's very musical heavy.
But they have some heavy-hitting Broadway.
Yeah, and every song is awesome.
Every song, that whole playlist. I think it's one of the only playlists I can listen all the way through.
You don't skip any.
You can't skip any.
There are some, obviously, that we're going to rate the songs, but there are some that are stronger than others, and we disagree.
We do have different lists of which songs are at our top.
But of course. But that's not to say that they're not all amazing. Because
they are all amazing.
I would be happy listening to any of those songs on repeat. There are some musicals, like even Phantom of the Opera, which is a great musical. Some of those songs I skip.
That's true. And you know what? I am surprised. One of the people they have singing is Alex Brightman, who does how many characters?
A lot.
He does quite a few characters, and his voice is phenomenal.
Two main characters on the series.
And you can't tell that he's the same person in either one.
No, and he has such a unique voice.
For those of you who don't know, Alex Brightman played in Beetlejuice as well.
He is Beetlejuice.
He is Beetlejuice.
And he has a very distinct voice.
A phenomenal actor.
Which is totally voice acting, is not his real voice either, which is crazy.
Because the ranges these people hit in the songs are
And to put
incredible.
on a voice that's different from your own and then sing in it, I can't even fathom that.
I can't even imagine the talent and the skill that it takes to...
I mean, just filming this podcast episode, I'm already tired and thirsty. I can't imagine hours in a studio recording myself singing in a, high-pitched, rough voice. So yeah, that's the show. We both really like it. We're both looking forward to season 2.
Yes. Let us know if season 2 drops and you want us to do reactions.
Or by some miracle it's already dropped and we're just pre-recording this and are in for a surprise, which I don't think, but you never know.
Who knows?
We can dream.
It'll probably be another year.
It sounds like it's going to be awesome, though.
It sounds like it's going to be phenomenal.
I can't wait.
I can't wait either.
Trying to avoid any leaks because leaking is awful. Don't do that.
Yeah, leaking is awful. And I know there was a big scandal where parts of season 2 were leaked. Potentially. And the person who got the information was trying to sell it online for a profit. And that does such a disservice to the animators and anyone who works on the show.
We'll talk about that kind of thing a lot when we talk about the Owl House in the future.
Oh, yes. We will talk about that a lot. And how Disney is scum. But I digress.
We all want to know what the show's going to be like and what there's going to be, and we're all eager. But we all need to also consider the amount of time and effort and work that everyone puts into these kind of things.
Yes, and when things like leaks do happen, the creators do take the hit. Because they either have to redo sections, or they have to basically bite the bullet and release it anyway, even though it's been spoiled for a lot of the fans.
And then it's really disappointing to them, too, because that's their creative work.
It is. And from a business standpoint, when leaks happen and people don't tune in to the actual source that the videos are coming from, it hurts the views,
the finances,
and it restricts possibilities for future seasons.
And it just looks bad.
It does. It looks really bad.
And we want this to look great because we want more. More. We're greedy. Give us more.
It's one of those series that I hope they get a long run.
Yeah, we've got...
Or the run that they want to have.
Greenlit for 4 seasons, so...
So let's hope they...
I think it said 15 episodes for season 2.
Oh, that's going up. So in season 1...
Or maybe I'm thinking of Helluva Boss, but I do recall it was... No, maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong. We need to check that.
I do know season 1 was 8 episodes, which, too short. I would have loved it to be 15, 20, 25.
100. Let's be real.
But if we're getting 4 seasons, if they continue the quality that they're putting out, I love it.
And the story is great. Every time, when you're watching something and like, ugh, this is predictable, because we watch a lot of anime, and anime can sometimes be really repetitive and predictable. It just kind of becomes too much, but I feel like every time I thought this show and Helluva Boss was going to go one direction, they flip me for a loop and it goes the other way. So every time I think I know something, I've been very much proven wrong.
Yes, and I will say it's one of the shows that, although you might be able to see the direction, everything they have written has a purpose. It gives you clues.
And there's so many unexpected turns. Like, you think for sure this is going to go this direction, and then it doesn't.
And that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it fun to watch.
It's how it gets you hooked.
It's one of the better adult animations.
Oh, for sure.
That I've seen in a long time. I'm quite glad that adult animation seems to be picking up speed and gaining more of an audience.
Let's talk about the songs.
So getting into my list of songs, how I would rate these songs from number 1 to number 10. I'll start at number 1 and we'll work ourselves down to number 10.
Wait, is number 1 the highest or the lowest?
Number 1's the highest.
Okay. I just wanted to figure out the scale before you started going.
So I'm going to go
highest to lowest.
The highest to lowest.
Okay.
So obviously You Didn't Know is my number 1. I mean, if I'm 0.05% of listeners, top listeners on Spotify for the year, that has to be my number 1.
You really like that song.
I really like that song. But I think it would go You Didn't Know, Loser Baby, Poison, Ready for This, Out for Love.
Yeah, we have totally different lists.
Hell is Forever, Respectless.
Oh, yeah, we really have different lists.
Hell's Greatest Dad, More Than Anything Reprise, The Finale, Whatever It Takes.
How are you doing this so confidently?
Because I know my tastes. Happy Day in Hell. It starts with Sorry, and at the very bottom, the last one on the list, is the Welcome to Heaven song.
Yeah.
I liked it, but it wasn't...
It's also the bottom of my list. It just doesn't hit as hard as the others, and I think that was intentional. It's also probably the shortest song in the series.
So that's my list.
Okay, so my favorite is probably gonna... This is so hard. I don't know how you just picked one. So I'm gonna say Poison, followed by Stayed Gone, followed by Hell's Greatest Dad. And if you don't know who my favorite character is, yeah, you're probably catching on. And then it gets a little foggier here. Maybe Out for Love, Loser Baby, Ready for This, Finale, and then Respectless, and everything else just falls in between. Whatever it takes, maybe. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell.
You know what? Keith David? You can't go wrong with his voice.
I know, he's really good.
And Blake Roman did an amazing job.
Amazing job. And Poison is just so catchy, even though it's a very dramatic song. But it's super catchy. And, it starts with Sorry is a song that's on the bottom of my list, but yet it's in my head probably the most.
Yeah. Didn't you just say you just woke up with that song in your head?
I've been singing it all afternoon. Just randomly, out of nowhere.
But that's, even if it's not your favorite song, it's still catchy. Like, all the music was good. It's hard to really rate them because they're all fantastic.
It's true. But we do obviously have our favorites.
Oh, the music was just so good. And especially in Poison, the animation.
Yeah, the animation of Poison is fantastic.
Was chef's kiss.
Wow.
Chef's kiss for the animation.
I mean, the animation of the whole series, really.
I found for the sensitive subject matter that Poison was, the animation did such a good job, and the song added to that it was just really well done. Yeah,
it was a very strong song, and I've watched a lot of, obviously, reactors on YouTube, and a lot of them have said the same thing, like, Poison is the song. But then Loser Baby, which is also a great song, has to compete with that in the same episode. And it does.
They do. They stand on equal ground.
Which is really hard when Poison is so strong and such a touchy subject. To then have Loser Baby follow it up. When you're watching it, you're like, this song, there's no way it can compete, but it does.
It does. I really enjoyed the finale, the finale song. And what brought it up for me was the imagery that they did with the animation. That song, if you listen to it on its own and you didn't know a context to it, it probably wouldn't rate as high. But watching the animation with the song brought it up. And I personally love animation. I think it's beautiful. I will die on the hill that I will watch cartoons my entire life.
The stigma of adults watching cartoons needs to go away.
It does, because now we're starting to get more adult animations. And a lot of them are doing phenomenal jobs.
And there's things you can do in animation that you can't do with real people.
The way that these adult animations are touching on more sensitive topics are greatly appreciated. I think some big animation companies should start to think more about an older demographic. Because now that we've had Hazbin Hotel, which listed #1 on Amazon, I believe it is up for multiple Academy Awards. It is showing that that is what people want.
Yeah, because it's fantastic.
It is.
Has been.
And I am very glad that Amazon was the one to pick it up.
Yeah.
Because I found that they had a lot more freedom in production than what maybe other studios.
There's one in particular we're thinking about. We're just not saying it.
Yeah, you'll hear that in another Fandom episode. There is one studio we're thinking of that doesn't allow its creators and artists
a lot of freedom. Okay, let's talk about favorite characters. Who's your favorite character?
Ooh, favorite character.
I know mine. You know mine.
Yeah.
I'm wearing his favorite color right now.
I think you know mine.
I don't know. There's a couple it could be.
I don't know. I have a painting of my favorite character.
Yeah, but that's just because you are that character.
That is true. Me and him, I relate to Sir Pentious.
A lot.
A lot.
Particularly that one episode when he's trying to hit on Cherry Bomb.
That explains my love life.
That is your love life.
That is my love life in a nutshell.
I've never seen a character that's more you.
I'm pretty sure I've said the words he said.
Yeah.
So Sir Pentious is my favorite character.
Interesting. Good.
But if I did have a follow-up character...
It'd be weird if you had a painting of him on your wall and he wasn't.
I don't know.
I mean,
he died for his sins.
To be fair, I did paint the Pentious.
To be fair. But Pentious died for his sins.
Yeah. Twice. So who's your other character then?
Baggy.
Oh, interesting. That's not surprising.
I like Baggy. I don't know what it is, if it's about, like, broody...
Yeah.
So, yes, I do like the broody character. And Baggy is very broody. I am really interested more in her backstory as well. I want to know how she got involved in the Angelic Army.
I have a feeling in the future you might also start liking Lute a lot more too.
Yeah.
She's your type.
She's my type. I did quite like what they did with her character. I'm interested to see now what she does without Adam.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
Because now she's creating strife. Spoilers. With Charlie's mom.
Mm-hmm. So that should be interesting. I'm really curious how they're going to play that up.
That was a good cliffhanger.
It was a good cliffhanger. Awful cliffhanger. Yeah,
it was an awful cliffhanger. Story-wise, great. It makes me want to watch the next season, and it will continually make me watch the next season, even if it's 2 years from now, because I have to find out what happened. Okay, those are my favorite characters.
So mine is obviously Alistair.
Yeah, you do like Alistair.
I like villains, but not the Adam type villain. Adam reminds me of Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, and I cannot stand that type of man. They're just too into themselves. And that kind of villain I don't like. But a good, manipulative, kind of grayish, morally gray character, that's my type of character.
That's your type of man, too.
Yeah, it's also my type of man. We'll get into that in the future, too, one day. Yeah. Usually, if I like a character, and even if they are acting like one of the good guys, they're probably a horrible masochist and terrible villain. I always like the villain.
So, second character. So you have Alistair that you like.
I'm really curious about Nifty.
Yeah, Nifty's a good one to be curious about. I want to hear more about her.
I would love a video in the day in the life of Nifty where it's just her killing mother bugs.
In front of her baby bugs.
In front of their baby bugs. I think she's a little psycho.
Yeah, I think that's why she pals around with Alistair.
I love that. And I think learning more about Nifty is actually going to tell us more about Alistair, because they do seem like I think he thinks of her as a pet. Like, he does definitely think of Husk as a pet, but I think she is almost pet-like. Like, she acts like that on purpose. And I think that plays into his own, psycho personality that he doesn't really put forward, where she can put that craziness forward. And I think he appreciates that, and he likes it.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I think she's also morally gray because she seems to get along a lot with the other characters and she's always there. And I think she's almost psycho to the point where she doesn't have that manipulative aspect to her. You know, she's very, this is what I'm doing. I'm crazy. I'm killing bugs. And I think there's a lot of really funny artwork out there of her attacking Valentino. And I wonder if she is going to kill him. Because she does like to collect those dead bugs. So I wonder if that's a hint.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I had never thought about it like that before.
Yeah. She even pulls off some of his fluff at the club, so she is currently an angel killer already. So I'm curious. I think she's going to play a bigger role.
I definitely think she's going to play a bigger role in season 2.
And, you know, Husk says, Nifty, you don't want to know what her deal is.
So there's an underlying...
But truthfully, I do want to know what her deal is.
Of course, we all want to know what her deal is.
I'm also curious about the V's. I know they're going to become the new villains of season 2. And I think that's going to be interesting, too. They seem like an interesting throuple.
They do. And I think we are going to get more of Alistair's backstory.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Especially with the V's.
I read something today that was released officially saying that we're going to get Alistair's backstory, but it's not going to be a main storyline.
Okay, but even as a backstory line, I'll take it.
So it's going to be a little bit, but we're probably going to be missing some details.
Because I could definitely see the main storyline still resounding around Charlie and the hotel, because now Sir Pentious has ascended into heaven.
I'm also curious, though, about how Husk's storyline is going to play out. Angels seems almost to be going a similar way as Pentious, just slower.
Yes, I think they are trying to do it slower. My theory is that Angel is also going to play into Husk's storyline and redemption arc.
It seems like that.
Because I know a lot of people make them a canon couple.
Husker Dust.
All the way.
I like Radio Apple. I think that one is so ridiculous. It's hilarious. It's never going to happen. But I think it's really funny.
It is really funny.
I mean, opposites attract, right?
They do have actually opposite penthouses on the new hotel.
Yeah, Lucifer's pretty lonely. You never know.
I mean, where's he going to put all of his rubber ducks?
Yeah, exactly. Speaking about their opposite things, I saw this hilarious fan art where it's Alistair hanging out of his and Lucifer hanging out of his, and they're both flipping each other off in the morning out their windows, which I think is so funny.
Couple goals.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll see where they go.
Yeah, I am super excited.
And like heaven too, even.
I have a feeling. See, I'm not sure if this is the way they're going to go with the tension, or if they're going to go this direction with Vaggie and Charlie's relationship. But when they visited heaven for the first time and they were doing the Welcome to Heaven song, the intro song, when Emily takes Charlie's hand and you see Vaggie's face in the background, I'm wondering if they're going to make a tension between the three of them.
Possible.
It's possible. But I'm not sure because they resolved, to my liking, very quickly, the
tension that was building between Charlie and Vaggie.
Yeah, the tension that was building between them in regards to Vaggie being an angel. They resolved it quickly, and I really appreciated that because it didn't need to be a big part of the story, and they didn't make it one.
They could have made it one.
They could have made it like the...
And I'm so glad they didn't. I like the idea that they're just going to have a relationship and that's okay. And the whole story doesn't have to be their relationship.
And I'm not saying that they'll make Emily like a part of their relationship and it'll revolve. It's not a romantic series.
No.
This is a story about redemption, but I'm wondering if they are going to throw that in as like a tension point at some point.
Possible. Although Charlie and Emily are practically the same person.
I know, but I think that's why Vaggie will feel threatened. Because Vaggie's always been the practical,
yeah, that's true,
pessimistic, and then Emily will come in and she'll feel replaced.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Because Emily will more or less agree with Charlie's ideas.
I like your theory.
So that's my theory on that, just to add in that little bit of extra tension.
I'm very curious what direction they're going to go.
I am too.
And like, I think I know, but I feel like because every time I thought I knew something, it doesn't turn out. I'm not even going to try to guess.
That's fair. One thing I am hoping that they do stay true with the series is their own ideas.
Yeah.
With shows that come out, I feel if they try and pander too much to the audience, it just becomes one of those regular shows that was interesting in the beginning, but then it drops off.
I hope, because Alistair is a fan favorite, and I'm cliche and I like a fan favorite, I hope that if they are planning on turning him absolutely awful, which would be very easy, that they actually do that instead of making him redeemed, which I know a lot of people are hoping for.
I think I'm on your side. I don't necessarily want him to be redeemed. That just doesn't seem to be a part of his character.
I'm really into the idea that he is quite literally the devil on Charlie's shoulder.
I like that idea. I agree with that.
Because everything he does is self-serving.
Everything. I'm curious to see what he's going to get Charlie to do as his favor.
Yeah, I'm curious if it's something to do with Lucifer or who knows.
Even Lilith.
It's probably going to have something to do with his freedom.
Yeah, most definitely.
But who knows? Because I've read a lot of things where they talk about how he got Husk's soul. And, we see him gambling. Yeah. And which means that Husk had to lose quite a few rounds before he was willing to put up his own soul. Which means Alistair plays the long con. Yeah. So he probably wore Husk down over time until Husk had nothing left but his own soul. Which means he's going to do the same thing with Charlie. So first, maybe he'll ask her for a new pair of shoes or something stupid. And then when she thinks, these favors that he's asking for are completely harmless and I'm getting something really big out of it in return, then he's going to ask for something that's really big that she can't back out of.
I too think that Alistair is going to play as the end villain. I think he's going to do...
I think because Charlie is so optimistic that everyone can be redeemed, they need to have somebody who can't be redeemed. And I think it needs to be someone close to her. It's definitely not going to be Angel. It's not going to be Veggie. Yeah. And Alistair's kind of taking on that, old wise mentor role. And I think she respects him, and the more he helps her out, the more she's going to respect him, and I think it's going to hit real hard if she can't.
Well, look at the episode where Alistair and Lucifer have their little song. And it is basically Alistair digging at Lucifer that he's more of a dad to Charlie.
Which he's solely doing to piss off Lucifer.
He is, but Charlie... then kind of starts to look at him that way.
And it also serves as his reminder to her, like, look at all these great things I've done for you. You don't need him.
Yeah. So I do think Charlie's going to get... So Lilith is going to come back into the picture.
But, like, if you think about it, it really seems like for Charlie, Lucifer, who is the devil, is actually going to be playing the angel on her shoulder, whereas Alistair's going to be the devil on her shoulder, and they're going to be the good versus the bad. Which I think is really cool. And kind of funny.
It is funny.
Let's make the devil the good guy.
And probably intentional.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's a reason they're on both sides of the hotel.
I'm curious. I am really curious to see what they do with Lilith. Because Charlie idolizes her.
Yeah. And Adam was her first husband.
And she's been chilling in heaven.
Which is odd. But then they also dropped the character of Abel recently, who is Adam's son, which means his other son, Cain, is probably also there. Cain was, for those of you who don't know your biblical studies, Cain is the first murderer, and he kills Abel in the Bible.
Okay.
So...
But see, are these the children of Adam and Lilith or Adam and Eve?
Lilith. So in the Bible, Lilith doesn't actually get mentioned until the New Testament. So she doesn't exist in these original stories. Lilith was a way of describing... Okay, now we're getting too serious. But in the Torah, the Genesis version of the Garden of Eden, God creates humans twice, if you read it as it is. which is a little confusing. And so to make sense of this, biblical scholars created this idea that there was 2 women, and that explains why they were created twice. So the first woman is created equally with man, and then the next one is made from the rib, which is Eve.
Okay.
And I'm actually writing a paper about this, so I apologize for this. Rib, fun fact, in Sumerian, the word rib means life. So that's why it's the rib, if you're curious as to why they take the rib. It's a Sumerian tradition. So it's not just from the Garden of Eden. So this idea that this first woman that was created was Lilith, but it's never said. And in fact, it's probably because when the Bible is compiled, they took 2 stories that were somewhat similar and put them together, but they didn't do it very well. And there's 2 different authors. That's why. That's the current theory anyway. But this is what the New Testament says to make sense of it. And in that area, this is awful. So Lilith does not listen to Adam, and she will not be subservient to man. And so God curses Lilith that she will never be able to have any children, which is why Charlie's kind of weird. And Lilith is banished from Eden, and she becomes the mother of demons.
Okay, I'm going to touch on this. We are getting a little too serious as for our fandom talk, which was supposed to be a light and funny episode.
I mean, it comes up. This is what they're drawing on. This is their source material. So.
This is their source material, and they actually did draw angels with the eyes.
The eyes. Like
in biblical. So let's take the thing that you just said, that Lilith was cursed by God and could not have children.
Mm-hmm.
Lucifer, in the last episode of the series, when he was digging at Adam, said he kind of banged the second wife too.
Yep.
So is Lilith Charlie's actual mother?
That's a good question.
That would be a great twist.
And I mean, the show does touch on Lilith empowering all of demonkind and using her song. So there is that idea that she was the mother of demons.
Yeah, so she was the mother of demons.
And to spare you from the history of why she's called Lilith, I'll just say that the Lilitu demon in Mesopotamia is the one who kills children at birth. And I'll leave you on that thought.
Yeah, that's a thought.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so it's weird.
And it's weird because they also, in Hazbin Hotel, they never show Lilith's face. Mm-hmm. Except for in that portrait. Like, they drop the portraits of Lilith. But if Lilith and Eve, like you said, God created them twice, what if they're twins?
It's possible. Well, I mean, Lilith was created first. It says in Hazbin, Lilith was created first, and then she left Adam, and then God created Eve for Adam.
But if God created Eve in the exact vision as he created Lilith, they could look extremely similar.
Yeah, because obviously Adam's going to have a type. I mean, we met Adam. He has a type.
He has a type. Adam definitely has a type.
Uh-huh.
So that's interesting.
And if you look at Abel, who has blonde hair, and Lilith has blonde hair, which if we're saying Eve is similar to Lilith, which it seems like she probably is, she probably also has blonde hair. They could be related. Charlie could be half-sisters of Abel.
I will throw this out there. This is just my fan theory, is that they do look incredibly similar. And the only thing to tell them apart are their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the last episode, when Lilith is sitting in the chair, she has sunshades on. And every time that she was shown in the room, like with Lucifer and Charlie as a baby and everything else, her face is blotched out. You can't see it. You could only see her eyes in the portrait.
Which is interesting.
So we've never seen her eyes. So is that Lilith or is that Eve?
And the other thing to consider, now I'm losing my train of thought a little bit here, is, so you have the portraits, so we see that Lilith is there, but does Eve go to hell or to heaven?
Yeah, I guess that's a question.
Because this whole thing that Eve is the one who commits the original sin, and Lucifer and his love Lilith are punished by going to hell, but where does Eve end up?
What if that was a part of the deal? What if to get Lilith back into heaven, her and Eve had to switch places?
It's possible. But there's also there's a little, like, obviously they're not going directly on the biblical stories.
No, these are all obviously speculations.
Because they say Adam is the first soul in heaven, but Abel was killed while Adam was still alive in the story.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd go off that directly.
Yeah, so I think there's some little change.
I think there is a change, because then that would mean that Abel had to be in hell first and then redeemed.
Yeah.
To go to heaven.
Which we know has never happened before.
In their memory.
True. So it should be interesting. There's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on, and depending on how close they're writing these characters to the biblical counterparts, which it's all just a loose interpretation.
I mean, yeah. So our theories are trying to take what we know of the Bible and kind of what they've been going off of and the hints they've been dropping. But just because they're using biblical figures doesn't mean it's going to be anything like the Bible.
No, of course not.
But it's really interesting to look at what those characters were and how they're kind of portrayed.
Yeah, it's interesting to kind of take what we know about the Bible and apply it. Well, what you know about the Bible and apply it. But yeah, those are some of our theories. I'm sure we have more. We can go on forever about our theories, but in truth, they've thrown so many curveballs at us.
And there's been so many fan theories. I don't know what's what anymore. It's like we can sit here and debate who owns Alistair's soul, but there's no point. So I'm just going to say Charlie owns Alistair's soul, and let's just leave it at that.
Charlie owns Alistair's soul. I think it might have something to do with Lilith.
I think that's too obvious.
Yeah, it could be too obvious.
I mean, it could be a character we've never met.
It could be. That could be introduced in the second season, or who knows, maybe that'll come up when Alistair has his villain arc, which I am positive he's going to have.
Oh, yeah.
If he doesn't have one, I'm going to be shocked.
I'll be really sad.
I will too. I kind of want to see him let loose a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Let his hair down.
I want Charlie to get a little bit jaded. She thinks, it might just be me, but she thinks too positively.
I want Charlie to get really reliant on Alistair and for him to let her down so much that her world is going to implode.
See, I don't want him to let her down in little ways. It's going to
huge.
be one big thing that he does that just shatters her.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's actually going to bring her and Vaggie closer, because Vaggie's very cynical.
She is. She's very pessimistic.
But even she's starting to be won over by Alistair.
She is.
She still doesn't trust him. No. But now that he's nearly died for them, I think that's going to make her feel maybe we can trust him. And if the favor that he now has from Charlie, if he asks for something little, she might be a little bit less guarded.
Yeah, she'll definitely be more likely to give in.
And I think the next season is going to be really building that trust between them and Alistair.
That could be.
Because you have the V's, and we know Alistair doesn't like the V's. And we know that Angel is being held by one of them, so what if Alistair helps free Angel?
That would be a big plus.
And I mean, that's beneficial for him.
And that's also giving them a big win.
And that would make it look like Alistair is the hero. And he's trustworthy, and he's there for them, and he's one of their friends. And then when he backstabs them all brutally, horribly, and, completely destroys everyone, maybe he'll kill Lucifer.
I think he's aiming for the top spot in hell.
Oh, yeah, of course. Power-hungry people are not satisfied being number 2. I'm really curious where he's been for 7 years.
I also want to find that out.
How do you make an overlord disappear for 7 years?
Where did he go?
What did he do? He's not allowed to leave the Pride Ring.
And that's where Hell of a Boss comes in, because Hell of a Boss dives a little bit deeper into the construction of hell.
And the lore a bit of hell.
And the lore. And it's quite fascinating. They go very well together. I do believe you just said that Vizzy Pop made a post for the new year, and they might be working on new projects.
Which is super exciting, but also finish the projects you're working on.
It is super exciting. I am curious to see what else she's going to do.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it.
I wonder if I could see her doing like a Heaven series even.
I could see a Heaven series.
I think that'd be kind of interesting.
It would be.
Or maybe something totally unrelated.
All I know is that I like the media she's putting out.
Mm-hmm.
I like the normalized queer representation.
Yeah.
It's not overstated, which is nice.
No, it's not the storyline.
It's very natural. It's like every other thing out there. There's normal.
Great humor in it.
The music is amazing. Please do more musics.
Mm-hmm.
Please do more musicals.
Very, very sensitive topics.
And they do it well.
They are not insensitive to those sensitivities. And they showcase it in a very realistic, relatable way.
Yeah.
Which I think is great.
They also offer the trigger warnings for people who are triggered by the events. But they are doing it in a very well thought out.
Very professional manner.
And a very professional manner. Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see what kind of, not even just where the storyline is going to go, but even where some of these topics are going to go. Because we have, abuse. We talk about manipulation. We have topics of love and romance. And there's just so many things that are kind of in the background of this huge story. So I'm really curious where those are going to go and what else is going to be introduced. And who else is going to be introduced? Because they've talked about a few characters. Now we mentioned Abel. There was Baxter was also, I'm pretty sure that was canonized now. So we'll see where that all leads.
Yeah, some new characters. I'm interested to see, too, how Heaven's going to react to Serpentius.
Yes, that's going to be big.
That's going to be big. I am curious to see if they're going to keep him a secret.
I would.
Or if they're going to tell Charlie, and I could see...
We might get some more Sarah lore, which would be kind of interesting.
Some more Sarah lore would be nice. But I could also see that being contention between, obviously, Sarah and Emily.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people think Emily's going to fall.
I'm with them. I think Emily's going to fall.
You do, eh?
I do. I think she's going to fall.
Or will Sarah fall? If it gets out that Sarah has been killing sinners and not telling anybody, isn't that going against Heaven's will and therefore a reason to be getting the boot?
But it depends.
It depends.
Because who's writing Heaven's will?
Exactly.
If none of them knew what it took to get into heaven,
yeah, then none of them know.
Who is giving them the rules of heaven?
Exactly. But how did Lucifer fall in the first place? I think that's going to be touched on too. If there is a fall, we'll have to talk about the first one.
Because I can't remember when Charlie opened in the first episode, if she talked about God sending Lucifer down?
No.
Or if it was the angels.
I'm pretty sure she says the angels.
The angels. So we need to find out who's orchestrating
who's
the
in
fallen.
Charge. Yeah.
Because I could see Sarah fall, or not Sarah, sorry, Emily.
But it seems like Sarah is afraid for Emily falling because she's spitting out these things. But she's not going to be afraid if she's the one who controls that.
I don't think she's the one who controls that, though.
No, so which is why I think I could see her falling because she screwed up. Because she seems really worried about Heaven finding out that they're killing all the sinners.
She does.
And if suddenly Pentious shows up and he says, hey, guess what's happening down there? Then all of Heaven's gonna be an uproar and she's gonna be the one who caused it.
That's true.
Yeah, so I can see it really... Because she seems afraid that's gonna get out. Which means she probably didn't have approval to grant Adam that.
Yeah, I've never thought about that theory before.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen much about that, and I've always been surprised.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about that.
Because I think everyone thinks of Sarah as the authoritative figure, but she is not the authoritative figure. She's one of them, but she isn't the figure.
I wonder if we're going to meet more seraphims.
We might.
Because we have Sarah and we have Emily. And so if we're thinking of it in those terms, are the seraphims more of like a council?
It's possible.
And then there is an overruling angel on that council?
Probably Michael.
Yeah.
The Archangel Michael.
Are we going to see archangels?
It's possible. I mean, Lucifer was one.
And then we have, well, Michael, Raphael.
Gabriel.
Zariel. We have Annie.
Everybody who ends in L.
Yeah.
And I can explain that too, but I won't for this video.
It's curious to see if we're going to get more of Heaven.
Yeah.
Interfering now that...
In the wrap I saw of things that have been officially announced for season 2, it did mention more time in Heaven, so...
Okay, so we might see more of how they're constructed.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have the overlords, but there's also the...
Yeah, Hell has a very clear structure that we've seen and we know, especially from Hell of a Boss.
More in Hell of a Boss. If you've only watched Hazbin Hotel, you're getting a very minute look at
Yeah, which is why I think
Hell.
when she says new projects, it could be heaven-based. To
which
kind
would
of
give us more lore on Heaven.
give us more lore on Heaven, which would make sense in my mind. And I mean, we have cherubs in Hell of a Boss, so where do they fall?
Yeah, we do have cherubs.
And it seems almost like they're mirroring each other, right, in structure. So the cherubs would be like the imps in Hell of a Boss. So I'm very curious kind of what the structure of Heaven is.
Especially if, like Lucifer, they have a top dog.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that top dog is.
I've seen a lot of theories about God coming in.
I don't know if they take it that far.
I don't know if they take it that far either. We'll see. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll find out. It's definitely hard to say.
I mean, you never know.
They've thrown us for loops.
They are pros at making you think you know one thing and then being like, you're wrong.
That's what makes it a great show, though.
It's true.
Some stuff's predictable, but the majority, like the heavy-hitting stuff, isn't.
You need to give enough predictability for little things that people are like, oh, I know what's going to happen. And then when it doesn't happen, they're really thrown for a loop.
Which is what I think they're doing.
I'm so excited to see what happens.
I'm so excited for it too. Cool. So yeah, that's our thoughts on Hazbin Hotel. I mean, we can go on forever about it, but let us know your theories in comments.
Yeah, join the Discord.
Follow us on Instagram.
Tell us what you think.
But yeah, we will drop links for everything down below. Cheers. That's all for today. Catch us on Instagram where we drop teasers for the next show and our Discord account. Links are down below.